Hey there! I'm going to show you how to do the Enchanted Spring Scarf. I'm going to use Desert Spring color in Lion Brand Landscape yarns. I'm on a 5/8 inch Cindy Wood loom. It's a 48 peg loom. It's the Nifty Knitter Purple replacement loom, and you can also get the same gauge loom from KB Looms in their chunky loom set. And Cindy Wood Loom has lots of these 5/8 inch gauge looms. And I've used 22 pegs. And what I've done is wrapped each 2-peg pair. I've separated them because we're doing it in 2-peg pairs, so you'll use even pegs. And this can be as wide as you want. You can make a shawl, a wide scarf, a thin scarf, whatever you want to make with this stitch. And I've wrapped the 2 end pegs here are going to be the end pegs wrapped together. And then the next 2 pegs will be wrapped together always. These 2 pegs will be wrapped together always. And so I've separated them and marked them so I can see the 2-peg pairs that fit together. Okay. And I'm going to stick my phone over here. It's driving me crazy, falling off. Okay. So, I'll get the yarn and we will cast on. Okay, we take the working yarn, make a loop, and then put the working yarn through that loop. And we have a slip knot, and we put that on the first peg and tighten it. And then we take our loom hook, put it into this loop, pull the working yarn through it to make a loop. And I'm just going to tighten it from the back here. And then we put this loop in front of the second peg and pull the working yarn through it. And wrap the next peg with it and working yarn through it, behind peg 4, working yarn through it and tighten, and we just do that, putting this behind and tightening it all the way. Now we don't want it too tight. You want to be able to knit this over, so you can check it and make sure that you don't have it too tight. This is a crochet chain cast on. I'm done without a crochet hook. I'm going to keep this loom pretty close to me because I don't think this dark yarn with the purple is going to show up real easy on your monitor, so I want to keep it really close so you can see. When I get a lighter color, I'll move it away so I can see it better, because I can't see it very well this close up. And you take the last peg, you take the loop here, and you just drop it over that last peg and tighten. And then you can just knit it over. And there, we're all casted on. And I'm just making sure this one's nice and tight over here. There, because then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap over both the 2 pegs and wrap behind them. Now we're going to wrap behind them and re-wrap them. And you're going to keep that loose, and if you need to, you can pull it to loosen it up and just knit it over. Okay. Now you're going to go to the next the 2-peg pair here, and if you were to imagine yourself doing an E-wrap over 2 pegs, you'd be going behind and wrapping them both like that. And we're doing a similar motion, except we're going to go in front of this peg before we do it. Then in front of it and then wrap around. There we go. And you're going to have one loop here and two loops on the bottom here and one on top. So 3 loops here, 2 loops there. And you knit this one over, and then you take the 2 bottom as one and knit them over. Okay, and you're going to go between here and wrap in front of the next peg and in front of the first peg of the next 2 peg pair, and wrap those like you wrapped the last 2, just like that, and knit it over. And I'm being nice and loose. And then you're going to go whoop, between these 2 pegs and in front of those 2 and wrap those 2. And if you need to slow down the video to see this, there's a little gear bottom right hand corner and you'll be able to do that. Okay, and then between this, in front of these 2, and wrap over. And then between these 2 and wrap over. Okay, and then between here, wrap those 2, wrap over. Okay, again between these 2 and in front of the next 2 and wrap over. I'll do this real slow. And knit over. And knit over. And I'm just going to get some more yarn here. Okay. So here we are in between these 2 pegs, so we just wrap these 3. Just like that. And then we come back and wrap them again this way. And then wrap them, come back, wrap over them this way. And again, like that. And then I'm just going to pull this down a little bit because it can tend to get kind of bunched up here. Okay, and now we're going this way, and we're going to come in front, wrap these 2 pegs together, go behind them and wrap them again. And then in front of these 2, and you're keeping it loose. You can pull it if it's not loose enough to loosen it up. And you've got 2 loops over here to take over, and you just put them over, come behind, and go over it again. And then go in front of these 2, put these over, and go behind and put them over again. Front, knit it over, behind, knit it over again, in front of these 2, knit it over, behind, knit it over again, and the same thing all the way to the end. Get over you. And then at the end we go over, we come back and go over in front again, Then we go this way in front, turning to go the other direction, and around and over it again. Okay, now we're going to want to pull the yarn down. There we go. We don't want it getting bunched up. There. Now it's too soon to really see what we're doing, but you can start to see that we're starting to have a pattern starting to happen. Okay, now that we're here, we're going to be doing the same stitch, except we're going to be going over it twice like we did on the way here, but with the stitch we used here. So we're going to take the working yarn, we're going to go over in front of the peg, wrap it, and knit it over, and then go in front of it, wrap it again, and knit over, keeping it nice and loose, and then go between them in front of the two pegs and wrap the next two peg pair like that, and then in front of this peg and doing it again. Nice and loose. And now it's going to be getting quite a bit bigger here. Okay, good. Okay, now we're here, we wrap. So if you're ever to leave it, you know, you get up and you go, okay, I'm between here, so I'm going to go going this way, so I'm going in front of this one, in front of this one. So in front of those two, doing that, and knitting them over, taking the two loops here, knitting it over, going in front of it again, and rewrapping it, and knitting it over, going between in front of the two, and knitting it over. And it goes really fast once you start really going, and you know what you're doing. And I'm going to have to unwrap some yarn again. Or it's easier to do it like this. There we go. Okay. So here's the two pegs we wrapped. We're in between the two of them. We go in front of it, in front of the next one, and wrap them. And knit it off, and wrap it again, and knit it off, and for the next two, knit it off, and knit it off again, and wrap over these three and knit them off. Come back, knit those two again. And now you're going to change direction, so you take the working yarn and go over these two, loose, and knit them over twice. Okay, and I'm going to pull everything down. This goes really fast. We do a lot of stitches doing this. There we go. And that's the start of the pattern right there. And it's coming. Okay. Then this way, we flat wrap over these two nice and loose, come back, wrap around them again. So same as last time, over them, you'll have two loops here. Behind, wrap over them again. And over and wrap these two and go over them again. Okay, and pulling it down. You won't have to pull it down when you get further along, because it will start just staying down here better. Okay, so we're here, and we come over here, wrap these two, back around and wrap them again, and come over here and wrap these two, and then wrap them again. These two, and then wrap them again. Okay, there's about at the end of the row. And here we go. So we wrap the two, and we come back and do it again. And then we're here, so we're going to come back, over, come around, wrap over again. Okay, now we're heading this way, so pull down all the yarn. There we go. Yeah, it'll look really pretty here. Okay, now we take this one, go over the first and wrap them. And we're only going to do a few of these, and then, okay, I'm going to let you knit for a while, and then we'll check in. Okay, so we go over the next two, wrap it and knit over, and then come back over this one and wrap it again and knit over. And then we go over it, over the next one and wrap them. And over again like that, and wrap it. And over the next two and wrap it. And in front. What's this doing over there? It's managing to get itself all strange over there. Okay. Now, how many times did I go over? So, I'm going to take a look and check. And this is long, this is long, this is shorter. So, one more time. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that that was right. Yeah, looks the same to me. Okay, then we're going to come over and wrap in front of these two and wrap around. Okay. Those two over and like that. Okay, so that's all you do. Go over the two, wrap like that. That's all you do when you're going this direction. And you do it twice. There. knit it over, and like that, and knit it over. This, knit it over, this. Knit it over these two, and the last one in the row. And then over these three. Over these two again. Turning around and going over this way. And like this, and then we're ready to start the next row going this way. So I'm just gonna pull it down. We can take a bit of a look, and you see the pattern is coming. Looking pretty nice here. But we'll go a little further so you can really see what it looks like. And so we'll check in then. So I'm going to do a few more rows and check back with you. Okay, here we are. I've done a few more rows so we can take a look at it. And here it is. It's looking pretty darn nice. And put it here so you can see it better, and maybe like this. So it has a very neat pattern going on. And if we look at the other side, looks like this. So coming along really nice. And here's how the cast on looks with it. Gives it quite a nice look here. And the sides look like this. Fancy kind of braidy look. And like that. Okay. There we go. So we'll just go on for a little while and check back again and see how it looks. But you can see it's starting to look quite nice here. There, so if I can get a really nice close up where you can see it and get the light right. There we go. So that's quite a pretty stitch. Okay. So I'll check in with you in a little while. Okay, I've gone a little further along, and now you can really see the pattern developing even better in these lighter colors. So that's what it looks like. And the other side looks like this. So it looks pretty nice too if you wanted to reverse it and use the other side. It looks really good too. And as we get further along, this is going to be a little bit more curvy on the sides. And it looks like the same similar stitch to here. So it makes a really, really nice edge. And see, we didn't need anything more than the casting on when we went into this, and just do the first stitch a little bit shorter by only wrapping it once. And it comes in, and the stitch doesn't curl. Don't need any purls or anything like this. And the texture, that's the other thing. I mean, you see the pattern here, but let's take a look at the texture. See if I can get it to show up in the camera. It's got really really nice texture. Boy. So there it is. So I'm going to knit on it for a while, and we'll catch up again. Okay, so I've gone further along, so let's just take a look at it. And here's how it's looking. We put it up like this, and you can start to see a lot more of the pattern and all these things here, and how it looks. And the other side is like this. And so let's just take a look at some of the things about it. So I stretch it out, it looks like that. It has a lot of loft, a lot of texture. The well, let's just talk a little bit about how I developed this, because you probably look at it and go, whoa, how did she do all that? And of course it came in stages. The stitch I use this way is my X's and O's stitch that I've used in different ways to do all kinds of things. I have things in my Ravelry shop with my X's and O's stitch. And so I did that one way, and then I came back another way, and it was okay, the thing that I tried. It was another one of my stitches, which I'm not even going to name because I didn't use it. But I thought it needs a little tweaking going this direction. And so I finally used my lightning ridge stitch. And so that is what did it. My X's and O's stitch combined with my lightning ridge stitch. So X's and O's one way, lightning ridge the other, and this is what I got. So all my time developing those two stitches years ago, well, I think this one was years ago, and then that one here was maybe 8 months ago or something, or 7 months ago. But then that's how I developed this. Now the edge, which this is a really long stitch, so you have to get an edge that will work, and I wanted an edge that went with the stitch and gave it some character. And so I had developed some blanket edgings, and so this is from that, learning to develop those blanket edgings, that I came up with this edge. Now it's starting to have a slight wavy effect as I go, and that's what I was looking for, and that means the way I did my edge is a tiny bit bigger than here, so it's not going to have a pulled tight edge, but it's going to kind of wave slightly to go with this stitch. So on this side it looks very similar to the stitch, and so it just blends in. Right, so that's what we have. And then on the other side, if you were going to do the reverse, let's see if I can get this to, what you're going to have is just a ridge going down this side, and let's get a close-up. It's just a really nice little braided ridge going down the side, and then your sides look like this. So I really, really like this edge with it. It's a very easy edge to do. It gives it some character. As we go along, it's going to have a slight waviness. It's a very soft, so it will just slightly wave as we go. And very, very nice that way. Easy to work with. You can do it in a number of different fabrics, but because I'm using landscape yarn, it has that shine. You get the added shine. And I did this with a lot of different yarns, and it looked nicer with the shinier yarns, so I decided to pick a shiny yarn that I like the colors of, basically, to do this. So there's a little brief thing on there, so I mean, it's just I'm not magic coming up with this or anything. I just developed this over years of other stitches and trying them together. So it's the result of lots and lots and lots of hours of doing swatches, of seeing how things work, trying them back and forth, and that kind of thing. But what I want to do is really go over the stitch this way, the lightning ridge stitch. And if you want to know more about how to do this stitch, my lightning ridge scarf, you can look more at me doing it. But I found that this yarn it shows up better on the purple pegs now that I got to this part, so I wanted to go over this more. So we're always wrapping these 2 peg pairs. So we need to wrap these 2 peg pairs, and we have to get over there. I get over there by going over this, and that makes this little neat loop that you're seeing here. Simply doing that. If I didn't do it, and let's say I went over the back to do stuff, you would have a great big long strand that just was big loose there and didn't do anything. So really important to go on in front of this. Tightens up the stitch and gives us just the right size of loop we want. And then when we do this peg pair, we're always in front of it, wrap behind it, and around. And basically it's just doing an E-wrap, except we're going in front of the peg first. Okay, so we're leaving this one, we're going in front, we're going to this new peg pair, and we start by going in front of it, then wrapping behind and over. And you'll know if you're doing it right because you should see 3 loops here. And then you just knit this one off, you knit off these 2 as one, and then you're going to do the same thing again. So you're over here, you pull the yarn back to the back of the 2 peg pairs, go in front again, and wrap it the same way, and you'll see the 3 yarns there, and then just knit it over. Okay, so you're finished. Your yarn's here on this 2 peg pair. You go in front of the back peg, front of the next peg, and just wrap it over and knit it off. Take the 2, knit it off. You're here, go in front. Here we go in front, behind. I'm at an awkward angle, so I'm looking at an angle I'm not used to looking at when I knit. Okay, in front and like this. There we go. So that's all there is to it. And I'm going to bring it a little closer. It'd be awkward if I did this for too long, but just so you can really see, I want you to be really sure of how to do the stitch here. I mean, I've had to refer the first few times to my notes when I did it again to remember what I was doing. Okay, so we're on this 2 peg pair. We finished wrapping them. We go between them. We go in front of the last peg, in front of the first peg of the next pair, and that pair is in yellow there, and just wrap around. And then we have the 3 yarns here, the 1 yarn here, and we just knit them off. And then we do it again in front of that one. There's your 3 strands of yarn, and knit it off. Okay, and then we're here, we go in front of the last peg, we're going in front of the next peg, and then we're going behind and just wrapping the 2 of them, and we have our 3 yarns right there, and knit it over. Okay, and then in front of these next 2 and knit it over. And I'm just going to speed it up. You can slow down the video and you can just sort of see me working away. It doesn't take a real long, well it does, it takes longer because it's awkward, but it doesn't take that long to do it. It's so close to me that I can't really see it very well. Okay. And that's all there is to it. You start to just whiz along once you get it down really well in your head how you're wrapping this. It's not hard, there's no purls, you're just wrapping. And then of course you go over the front of this one, and now you got to wrap these 2. So you just go over all 3. And again, if you get too tight, always just pull the loop. Pull the loop as you go. If you're a tight knitter, you can keep your whole work loose just by doing that. And you can do any technique. And it's a lot easier on your wrist, and keep you from getting carpal tunnel is easy if you're nice and loose. But okay, and then we just do that again. Wrap over, come back, wrap those same 2 pegs the same way again. And then we're here, we come in front to turn, to come back this way, and we wrap it once. And this is done loosely too, and you can do this too to make sure it's loose enough. You don't want that to get really tight. Okay, and then of course I'll just do one of these, but this one is really easy. You just flat wrap very loosely over the 2. You're at this peg, you go behind, wrap those 2 again. And over. And this one can tighten up on you, so make sure it's loose before you knit it over. It's really easy to get in the habit of doing that. So keep it loose. I've done this stitch a lot, so it's just always loose when I do it. But you get used to it, just loosen it up. There you go. That's all that you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to go a little further along so you can see how it looks. I'm going to release this before I'm all the way done. So many people have asked for it. There's a lot of interest in it, and I'm not going to make you wait. So I will just come back when I'm ready to say I'm going to release it, and I will edit on the video that I have of how to bind off. And when we went on, all we did was we just did a cast on and went right to the stitch. And the reason for that is I didn't want a whole lot of heavy weight at the end of such a lacy thing. So I just wanted this. It will probably slightly curl up, but I like that. It adds to it. It makes the braid come forward. So you see this braid at the bottom. But you're welcome to do your cast on and start it different. This is what I opted for. That's what I like on it. Okay, so I'll go a lot further down, and then I will catch up with you. And I hope that me going over the stitches again helped if you felt a little confused. And okay, we will catch up in a little bit. Okay, so I'm further along, so take a look at how the stitch looks close, and I'll show you how it looks on the different colors that are in here. The brown picks up the pattern a little less than the others, but it still looks nice. We've got the green, and then we got this yellow and this orange up here, and even stretched tighter up here. You can see how it picks up the pattern on those colors too. So I'm going to edit the ending here and leave it here so I can release it to you. And I hope you enjoy. Oh, before we do, let's take a closer look at this side too, because you definitely can use this side as well. This is a really pretty stitch itself. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video here, and have fun. So now we will be binding off. So what we do is we just measure 1, go down there, we come back 2 because we want to be long enough, and then they say, most people say do it about 3 times, so I'm going to do it close to 3 times. And I'm just going to put you on pause because I have to find a scissors and a needle. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to cut it right here. There we go, and I have my needle. I'm threading the needle. Okay, and I'm just going to give this a little tug here so it's not too loose. And then I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to go down. So I'm going to go inside this loop on this peg and put the working yarn through it. And snug it up. And then I'm going to go back up the first peg. Okay, snug it up a bit. And I'm going to go around the second peg and in front of it, and then I'm going to go down this peg and then up the second peg, snugging it up as I go, and then around between the two pegs and around the front. So basically that's all we're going to be doing, is we're going to be going down the peg in front, back to the peg we had done before, and then going around. So down the peg and around and up the peg. And around, and then down the next peg, up the peg before. Let's get this close right now, and we're always pulling it tight, and then between the two pegs we just did, around, and then we'll be going down this next peg, making sure the working yarn doesn't get all hung up the peg before, and around. Tightening it as I go. Down, up, and around. Down, and then up and around, and then down the last one. Whoop, and the needle came out. So we better redo the needle. Okay, and then up, and there, we've gone through every peg. So we're just going to go back down the first one like that, and I'm going to come down it again like that. There, just to secure it more, and then you'll just be weaving in your end. So now you can take it off the loom. Okay.